A common question that is asked is how are pension and retirement benefits divided up during a divorce? And what happens is we have to determine how many years the marriage is and how many years you worked in that job. The non-titled spouse of a retirement asset is entitled to 50% of the money that was accumulated during the marriage. So for example, if you were married for 12 years and you were working in the same job for 12 years where there's a pension, the non-titled spouse would get 6 years worth of that pension. Any time that you accumulate after the divorce action is started is your separate property. Any time that was accumulated prior to the marriage is your separate property. What has to be taken into account when dividing up retirement assets is that it's done by what's called, it's a non-taxable event. So either the retirement account has to be rolled over to another retirement account, or some retirement plans require what's called the QDRO, a qualified domestic relations order, so that it gets rolled over from one party to another, and it's a non-taxable event. When dividing real estate in a divorce action, what has to happen is a valuation has to be done by an expert to determine the value of the real estate. Now, sometimes what happens in a divorce case is you might get a valuation early on, and then a year or two might pass until you're trying to settle the case or the case is going to trial, and then you'll need an updated appraisal because valuations change. So the way real estate would get divided up is you have to get a value on the real estate, you subtract what the mortgage is, and then the net amount is the value that has to be divided in half. But what also has to be taken into account is that if you're buying one party out, most likely the party that's being bought out wants to get their name removed from the mortgage. And that has to be done through either satisfying the mortgage or by effectuating a refinance to get their name off the mortgage. When dealing with stock options in a divorce proceeding, it's imperative to know if, as, and when that option vests. A lot of times options are given, but they're not worth anything at the time they're giving, but they're worth something years down the road. So it's imperative to review the plan with the accountant, review the plan with your lawyer so that those plans can be taken into account and a value can be placed on them and written into the agreement in order to determine how the stock options get divided up. If you have any questions regarding complex assets in a divorce, please call the law office of Jerome Scharoff and schedule a free consultation.